Alright, let's make this part short and sweet because you're already watching a movie at this rate. Best not waste any more of your time. Holy crap, this is commentary number 50, at least as far as my channel is concerned. I'd like to take this time to thank you all. Without you guys and your various reactions, I don't think I would have wanted to continue commentating for as long as I have. To commemorate, I wanted to make this commentary a little extra special, so I hope you all enjoy.
TP, why the fuck did you call us?
I think I know what he's doing.
What?
Summoning the dead.
In a commentary? Kaden, you've died in commentaries enough to know that death means nothing in the context of commentaries.
The ritual is almost complete.
Oh. What's left?
Mekalekahai Mekahaini.
Holy fuck! That's it?
Yeah. Holy crap, I think it's working! Alex!
Wait, what the hell's going on? Am I alive? Am I not dead? Can I just, enjoy being dead for once in my life? My death, whatever?
Welcome back, Alex.
Who the fuck are you?
Oh no, are you summoning him for your stupid fucking ship fic?
It can't be canon if Rabbit is alive and Alex is not.
Oh yeah, that was a thing once, We kind of broke it off once he realized he'd rather be a space goat. Whatever. The sex sucked anyway.
Wait, it was terrible?
And his dreams are crushed. Hey Alex, while you're here, quick question. Want to see a countdown?
Do I have to? I mean, the first thing I wanted to do if I ever came back to life was, get a burrito. Burritos are awesome. I don't know, whatever. Countdowns are short, right?
What do you mean that you all died at the same time?
Well, we brought Alex back to life to watch the countdown, and it killed him. And Ty. And me. And I just realized how redundant bringing Alex back to life was now that we killed him again.
Oh, him.
And you got on my case for pushing a fucking goddamn button!
Well, you did, and you were the one who showed us the video in the first place!
You started all the events that got us killed! Again!
Ladies, you're both pretty.
Really?
Yeah, pretty stupid.
Enough! You have all annoyed me to no end since you arrived.
But we just got here.
Doesn't mean I'm wrong.
No, it really doesn't.
As punishment for your sins, you must all rewatch the countdown that killed you and do a commentary on it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We're already dead. I mean, it's not like it can get much worse from here.
Alex, no, this is killing and we're before smartass gun, don't you fucking jinx more shit!
Also, you all have to change your avatars to be Undertale related.
Oh no, we gotta be Tumblr trash!
Hell yeah, we gotta be Tumblr trash!
Well, what do we do now?
Simple, darling. We gotta be absolutely fabulous!
Can I be a skeleton?
Whatever, Papyrus. As long as I'm the sexy robot.
Wowie!
So it's settled.
TP?
Named my character after her on my first run. Goat Jesus never said how I had to be related.
Have you heard of genocide?
Am I still a sexy robot?
Yes?
Then I don't care!
Still blame you for all this, Ty.
So can I join?
I know this is more of a coincidence, but, Speedy, you have my name in the URL. I mean, you can keep it there, but I get 50% AdSense, motherfucker. Pay up. Also, well, time to repeat tradition. Inconsistent aspect ratio. 20 seconds of video game clips. Nice booming and epic music with a bunch of cartoony-ish clips with not a lot happening. We got Sonic smug-ass face, Kirby and the gang flying, Yvel doing a thing, Meowser doing a thing, just things being done. Also, what is it with these f***ing montage intros and having mostly Nintendo clips? Sure, it shows primary interest, but other clips exist, especially when you're going for all this epic sweeping boom music. Just saying, don't be racist. Also, that's racist. Also, countdowners are a dick to other gaming companies. I sure love a nice upskirt of someone getting their guts ripped out. That shit is like candy to me. Hold on a sec, I need my lotion and MP3 to Careless Whisper. TP doesn't have a raging erection in the scene. Also, TP's not trying to kill Speedy for using Dark Pit in this scene. Ah, good old Papyrus font, just as overdone as Impact. But I guess since Undertale exists, we're allowed to be within our circle jerk. Well, guess what? You can dick off with that. I'm the Skeletor here. And reading. Also, this intro did not contain a lap dance. Oh, motherfucker, it's broken! Aww.
When it comes to people's passionate opinions on video game characters, most of the opinions can be narrowed down into two basic categories.
Someone refresh my memory. Did Fire Emblem Awakening come patented with a yellow bar on the top of the screen? I understand this clip isn't around for too long, but still, Speed, what's the deal with your footage?
Time for my Sony Vegas boner! Get it? Cause I'm a skeleton. To rise to the heavens once more! Turns out that this is in fact a bug in his editor. Don't ask me which version of Vegas this happens. I know it happens in 12, but I use 13 and I don't really have issues with— well, anyway, there is a technical way to fix it. Right click on whatever video there are issues with, then Properties, General, and you'll see this under the plugin category. Go to that directory and change the folder to whatever, add or delete a letter, whatever you want. Or if you don't feel like going through all that, and trust me, it is a bit tedious, I have alternatives. You can choose another media clip, render it out in crop, or, and this might be considered an assumption, but, check your goddamn footage before you publish it, because for something like this, I have no clue how you missed that.
You love them, or you hate them.
Middle ground? What middle ground?
Your middle ground.
Well, he did say passionately, even though I don't think you can really be passionate about the middle ground.
Well, you know what, TP? I hold the very strong belief that Mimi was simply an okay Digidestined.
No, you.
As much as people love the characters they love, people love others talking about the characters they hate even more for some reason. Which is why so many people have done their take on the topic.
Mommy, look! I'm in a countdown! I'm in a countdown! You're in a countdown! No, I don't know!
Time for me to be unoriginal again?
Man, you sure are convincing me to continue watching your hated characters list and not watch any of the other hated character lists. Can I kill myself, please?
Things in games or characters in games that apparently everyone despises, I usually don't feel these extreme emotions, or I do only to a very mild degree. In fact, I tried making this a top 10, but I simply couldn't find enough characters that I honestly hate, which is why it's only a top 5. So, when I'm saying that I hate these characters, you know I mean it.
Not necessarily. I know I commentated on it before on Bop, but let's look at Tamachi's top 10 worst X and Y Pokemon. Sure, stating that she didn't like Sylveon for ruining family portraits or Pyro for its hidden ability is dumb, but she still made a list where she didn't harbor much animosity towards the earlier entries. Her list sucking does not disprove my point. You can make a top 5 or even a top 10 hated characters list where you don't vehemently hate everything there.
Also, another hated characters list showing off Jasper Bat Jr. At this point, I'm not surprised. This is apparently my life's work.
What, did you not look at the thumbnail?
Don't test me.
Too late, bitch, you should have studied.
Ty, your insults are shit and you should feel like shit. He's in the transition too?!
My dead as shit soul can rest knowing that it's all your fault!
I'm not my old videos. 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 I'm not my old videos.
Hey, you wanna buy a snickerdoodle?
Man, there are a lot of unlikable characters in No More Heroes. Bastard Brat Jr., Munging Fuckman, even Pooh Dickweasel over here.
Pooh Dickweasel. That's the first name that came to mind for new Destroy Man. Points for originality?
Replacing their actual names with insults. Man, sure is creative and adult around here. Just call them cunt, and Sonic Poop cries moronic. Much more mature, if I do say so myself.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the people who dislike New Destroy Man admit it's not the character that's the problem, just the boss fight. Well, I know where this is going, and does Bleach work in Kill Land?
So many bosses we hate a lot.
Yeah, keyword being bosses.
From both games, or as I like to call her, Miss Jumpy gets hit a bunch.
Oh, so you can crop the footage to remove the yellow bars. Well, shit.
For starters, she was one of the bosses in the first game, and I cannot tell you how much I don't like this fight. Compared to the introduction and characterizations of Death Metal and Dr. Peace, Shinobu's is such a letdown. Not only does she kill a class full of students just because they learn she's an assassin, but her cold and abrasive attitude towards Travis mixed with her attempting to avenge her father's death, which is something that is never elaborated on.
You will pay with your life! At last I have my chance.
I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding. I never fought your father.
Liar! You killed him! Sliced him in two! You sick bastard!
Jacobs was my mentor. I'd never kill him.
I watched Master Jacob's teachings on video over and over till the fucking tape wore out. We've never met in person.
Hey, look at that, elaboration. And if I may add, you make it sound like Shinobu killing the classroom full of students is a thing we should hate specifically her for, when virtually every named character in the series is an assassin. What's their job again?
Murder, murder, stabby death.
Not to mention, Travis at this point has killed not just the previous 2 UAA members, but also countless mooks. By that logic, Travis himself would be way worse than Shinobu at this point in the game. I mean, as the second game proves, they had families, like Jasper. Oh no.
Did you fucking just defend Alex? Holy shit, you fraudulent fuck!
It's a good thing we're dead, or we'd be suffering for the apocalypse right about now.
Now I am become death. Destroyer of Vidya.
Okay, cool, no one gives a shit now. Can you fucking not?
Just makes everything feel lackluster. Also, her fight is in a boring locale with forgettable music, her fighting style is annoying as hell, and when she's on low health can throw out moves that can deplete your health faster than some of the top ranked bosses can, making it feel pretty unfair when you lose.
So, how is this about Shinobu's character again? Did we just stumble onto a worst bosses list now? Ty, did we just stumble onto your 2-year-old video? For real, this just feels like it could have not been here. Shinobu's character is not her boss fight. There is rarely, if ever, a time where a character is in their boss, gameplay, or whatever. But even if this was the case, you never go on about how that's so. For the uninitiated, people are going to wonder how the two are connected, other than by the thread that is Shinobu.
I mean, I get it. A shitty boss fight can really sour an experience playing a game. And if a character is involved in it, I might be inclined to hate their guts after a while. The problem with this, though, is that the argument really isn't perfect. Let's look at No More Heroes 2, for instance. The boss fight with New Destroy Man is, frankly, one of the worst things ever. It's almost as bad as the mixtapes of Ryan Rhino Mills. But I think the character's personality is entertaining, so... is that a bad character overall? Well, I liked it. So if I didn't have to fight him, would he be better? Or how about the reverse? If I didn't like the character, would they suddenly get big brownie points for having a good boss fight, even if it was loosely connected to their base personality? This is way too situational for it to be a substantial argument if the point of the list is about characters.
And she also happens to come back in the second game as a playable character. Not only does her taunting lead her to get hit all the frickin' time by enemies, she has barely functional platforming in her 2 levels, the 2 particular levels I'm talking about also having the 2 most annoying bosses in the game who I have previously mentioned. These things aren't necessarily to blame on Shinobu directly.
And here we see Speed shooting himself in the foot so badly he'll need prosthetics. Way to admit that Shinobu really isn't at fault for her levels being crap. Now stop talking about them! What's sad is that you could have gone further with her taunts interrupting the gameplay, since it is part of her character to taunt. The game could have handled her taunting better, but as it is, the choices the game made could arguably dampen the character. Yet outside your quick remark about it, it's never brought further. You had a point, then you lost it. Fuck!
But it annoys me that we get stuck with her throughout the 2 worst levels in the game where Sir Henry motherfucker only gets used for 1 boss fight. Instead of getting to have more time playing as the amazing Irish bastard himself, you know, Travis's twin brother and final boss of the previous game, we get the samurai girl whose only reason for not being dead like every other ranked boss in the game was because this fight was before Travis stopped being a sexist arse and treated male and female assassins equally.
Looky what I found!
Kill when you can kill. That's bullshit. All I want to do is fight someone better than me. She'll grow up. Why not kill her when she's stronger?
This belief of his is further supported with the battle against Kimi Howell in the sequel.
Screw this. I can't kill a co-ed. Come see me after you graduate, and I'll school you again.
But let's assume that Travis only kept Shinobu alive because she's a girl.
Yeah, fuck you, Shinobu, for being alive because of someone else's character, something completely out of your control. For shame, Shinobu. Shame!
I mean, Travis did show hesitation at killing Holly Summers, and both her and Shinobu did suspect it might have something to do with him not wanting to kill women. But he grew out of that pretty fast when faced with people like Bad Girl and Chloe Walsh, and Travis in general shows a pretty twisted sense of honor across all the games, including sparing Ryuji and not wanting to kill younger or weaker people. The whole joke behind Travis's character is that he's this crazy, murderous dweeb who thinks he's a modern samurai. And cue Philistine.
So go on with the wildest one like you're the best and searching for another hero. Oh, please.
Speaking of her relationship with Travis in the sequel, actually, out of freaking nowhere, she suddenly wants nothing but Travis's attention, wanting to prove her worth to him, calling him master all the time, and even trying to blatantly have sex with him. Like, why? Why does she have these feelings for Travis, the guy who cut off her hand, said one to her after she saved his life later on, then had nothing and wanted nothing to do with her for 3 years? I can think of at least one redeeming thing for the likes of Jasper and Million Gunman.
And those redeeming qualities just so happen to be aspects of their battles, not so much their characters. And be honest, if Shinobu had Jasper's music and vice versa, would anything really change? And what, nothing for New Destroy Man? I know I said earlier that most people who complain about New Destroy Man complain about the boss and not the character, but you didn't do that.
I did.
Shut up, I'm trying to make a point.
You're a point.
It's becoming clear to me that your point is to go know you. Ty, that's my shtick!
Look, without me, there'd be no kill on Meme, so your souls will just wander off in the space of fucking nowhere.
What about me?
Oh, what about you? It's always about you, never letting me be on top for once.
You know, I'm starting to regret reviving you, Alex.
But Shinobu? I can't find a single thing that I don't hate about her.
Are you talking about Shinobu's boss fight or Shinobu as a composite character? Because if you're talking about the latter, you said this literally seconds beforehand.
Said one to her after she
Saved his life later on.
Nope, nothing to see here. Move along, get hit by a bus, then slit your wrist.
Sonic characters. Oh, the multitude of characters we have at our disposal to rip apart.
Okay, whatever point you were trying to make at the beginning about not picking characters that apparently everyone hates, you're kind of shooting down by picking a Sonic character. Unless it's some oft-forgotten Sonic character.
Big the Cat.
Obama, please guide my soul tonight!
Even when compared to characters like Charmy and Elise, I still despise you the most, and anyone who knows these characters know that's saying something.
This just in! Slow people are worse than bestiality!
Wait, what?
What about the people in your audience that don't know of them? How are they supposed to judge how, or even if, Big is worse than not Jerry Seinfeld or almost caused the apocalypse because she wanted to be with Sonic? Hell, even to the people who know the Sonic franchise.
Bestiality! Well, being honest, my first exposure to this character was in Sonic Heroes, and I didn't necessarily hate him. He was just easily my least favorite of the power characters. I mean, compared to a huge-knuckled echidna, a cool robot that can fire shit from his arms, and a beefy crocodile, who'd pick the fat cat with the umbrella and the fishing rod?
Picking someone ironically is still a reason.
When I played his game of origin, Sonic Adventure, that I really began to hate this bastard.
You know, I really feel you here. A cat gutted me in my sleep once and then went fishing with my entrails. So, maybe Big is this horrible bastard too. I don't know.
It was kind of amazing. Never before have I actually wanted a character to shut up so much in my life. And seeing how little actual dialogue he has in this game,
Hold on, Froggy, I'm coming. How to play as me? Big Froggy, is that you? Froggy, wait up, Froggy. There you are.
I want to know something weird? Guess who Big's voice actor also voiced? Take a wild guess.
E123 Omega?
Duke Nukem.
Well, I'm not wrong.
How can a guy who sounds so cool voice a character who's so annoying? What did you do?
It proves he has range.
I mean, having a character sound like Duke Nukem.
And having that same person sound just like me.
That says more about John St. John as a voice actor. Also, having just done a shitty Duke Nukem impression, is it fair to say that John St. John voicing both Duke and Big makes a lot more sense when said out loud?
As I've said in the previous video, the only reason I haven't beaten Sonic Adventure is because I cannot bring myself to put up with this bastard.
This is cancer.
The style of gameplay is insufferably dull and trivial and endlessly repetitive.
Coming from the same guy who referred to Big the Cat as a bastard twice within the span of a minute. So what you're saying is that you hate Big because he's relatable.
TP, you know that doesn't discredit his point, right? Also, Jesus Christ.
Oh, hold your horses, Ty. I was just making a joke. But real talk concerning a fictional purple cat. Big has a grand total of 4 levels and 1 boss. And assuming you're not terrible with Big, it should only take you an hour or 2 to complete his campaign. One could argue that the rest of the game is equally as repetitive. For instance, fighting KS4 3 times, going through both Sky Chase acts twice, holding down the shoot button for Gamma to extend time, fucking Zero and Amy's story. You didn't even finish Big's story, so you don't have a ton of room to talk considering how repetitious his gameplay is. Sure, you can argue that the other characters are more fun to play as, and I'll even agree with you there, but the point still stands. Big may be bad, but he isn't the bastard you're making him out to be, especially when your complaint here is about something that isn't necessarily because of Big. Why are you implying that Big's at fault for his levels, yet Shinobu isn't for hers?
Having to catch the same stupid frog multiple times, just in multiple locations, instead of doing something cool like the rest of the characters in the game.
I have no clue what you were expecting from a character that looks like this when compared to the others, but whatever fishes your frogs, man.
And the worst part of all this is how absolutely incompetent Big is. You know why you have to catch the same frog multiple times in multiple areas? Because the stupid arse keeps losing him!
Speed says as he shows Gamma taking Froggy away from Big, aka not necessarily Big's fault. Also, are you calling Big stupid because he's slow? Because that's not how stupid works. In fact, that's pretty stupid yourself.
You'll have caught him in the last level, some bullshit will happen, and whoopsie-dum daisies! Froggy will bugger off elsewhere. Really doing a lot to make me like you, Big! I don't know who in their right mind thought this was a good idea. I mean, the whole purpose of this story is thanks to a fishing accessory for the Dreamcast, and they wanted to get their money back on investing money in this stupid peripheral, so they put a fishing boat in a Sonic game.
Cite my sources? I don't need to cite my sources, I'm a countdown maker!
Completely useless and ultimately insufferable fat purple cat! I am so glad it's been a good couple of years since he showed up, and I want it to stay that way. I never want to see this useless piece of crap again.
Hey, have you heard of Sonic Dreams Collection? It's a pretty good game. Check it out. Bring the kids.
Time to talk about a character that I hate that I can guarantee no one else watching this video also hates. Mainly because you wouldn't have heard of him. It's Purple Eyes from Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs.
As a diehard Pokemon fan, I am mildly ticked at that.
Oh, you and me both.
Who the fuck is this?
Fuck off.
Being perfectly honest, every character from here on out is going to be a villain. Where hating the character is somewhat just—
Wait, what?
But specifically, these are villains I hate for more than just the standard reason. Which is why Purple Eyes is a great example. While he is most definitely in this evil team for himself and cares about literally no one but himself, committing horrible acts for his own benefit, which is typical villain affair, what makes me hate this is because it conflicts with all the other villains in the game. Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, the Societa, and the whole lot of the Pokemon Pinchers, despite all of their villainous tendencies, always had some redeeming qualities about them. Whether it be profound respect for the heroes, an overall sense of honor and principle, or even just actually performing genuinely good deeds with no evil incentive, there was no 100% evil character. Well, except for this douche.
What, did you want things to say that way? I mean, yeah, having a somewhat respectable villain is pretty cool, but adding a 100% pure, evil, rotten to the core villain might do something a little good for the plot. Or at least it would add a little variety for the antagonists.
Isn't part of what gets us to consider such an effective Pokemon villain is because he's 100% evil, unlike the other main series antagonists before and after? I mean, you can dislike them, but if anything, isn't that more the point?
I'm actually kinda amazed in this cast of surprisingly noble villains that they managed to create one I hate so much. Not only is he a despicable character, but one of the Pokemon he specializes in is Metagross. I hate associating my favorite Pokemon with this sack of filth.
Well, screw Nazgour then.
Oh, someone you don't like has rights to your favorite Pokemon. Oh no, talk about complete douche for having similar taste to yours. Seriously, the timing on that statement made it sound like him using Metagross is an actual reason why you hate him, which is fucking stupid. If you would have put this anywhere else and made it sound like a joke, I might have bought it. But as it is, this is some really petty shit.
After doing so much stuff for the villainous team in terms of kidnapping, destroying ancient artifacts, and tormenting Pokemon, they finally boot him off the team, just like they did to Blue Eyes earlier in the game. And while Blue Eyes used this as a chance to redeem herself by helping out the Rangers, Purple Eyes instead sees it as an opportunity to fuck over absolutely everyone else and become supreme ruler of the world. Dick move.
It's almost like he's the fucking villain or something.
Well, yeah. According to your own words, Purple Eyes did so much for the team he helped command it, only to have him eventually gotten the axe. I honestly don't blame him for wanting to still fuck everything up. Now, I can't say if he feels actual guilt for being kicked off, but I think it's more of a when you want something done, you gotta do it yourself kind of deal.
Considering that this turnaround happens in the midst of the final boss battle against the at least respectable Ed the Thinker, and that the final battle against Purple Eyes is just Ed Mewtwo but supercharged, this tight vest-wearing piece of crap is crap compared to the build-up that Ed the Thinker had.
Did he literally just use crap twice within the span of 3 words?
Did he literally just use an emoji?
Did he literally? Oh, and there was one more thing that seals my hatred for him. In the bonus DLC mission of this game, Arceus comes down to Earth after the horrible acts that happened in the story with the intention of purging the world and starting again.
Boy, at this point you've already proven that you can edit keyframes and the dimensions of an image, so really the watermark that you're only drawing more attention to could have easily been cropped out altogether. I mean, you might not be able to see all the text, though there are ways around that, like zooming in on important words or visuals. Just having a text box saying, "Ignore this," is like saying, "Don't think about pink elephants." And now I suddenly need to watch Dumbo.
Your crew talks to Arceus to convince it to spare the world, talking about the good things in the world, and you know what? Arceus changes its mind.
Ignore me!
He actually listens and wants to spare everyone now. He's about to turn around and go home, when guess who should walk in?
What you're talking about, you're wrong.
Purple Eyes struts right on in and says Arceus should destroy the world, but he should be spared, so the two of them can make a world for him to rule. Arceus, rightfully so, gets fucking pissed at his complete level of douchebag, forcing you to have to fight him to save the world. I think it's saying something when this one despicable excuse of a human being is enough to make God go,
"You know what, I fucked up, all you assholes gotta be purged."
Speaks volumes, doesn't it?
No, it really doesn't. If anything, it makes the Pokemon equivalent of fucking God look gullible and easily swayed.
Since you so obviously rephrased that to make it seem like it's Purple Eyes' fault, allow me to do the same at the expense of Space Goat over here. You know it says a lot when Arceus was gonna spare everyone, but then decides to flip its shit for one person instead of smiting just him and moving on. Yeah, I sound stupid, right?
By the way, God, why did you get pranked?
What, you think that's me? I'm not that easily upset.
Somehow I highly doubt that.
I'm not that much of a douche.
Then let me ride you!
Why are you so hell-bent on being on top?
I demand equality in this wreck of a ship!
Ah, Xenoblade Chronicles. I don't know how many ways I'm gonna end up singing your praises, but I have no intention of stopping anytime soon. Well, except for right now.
Yeah, nah, we have a few things to say. Or rather, TP and Alex have more to say than I do. But fuck it, for those who still want to play it safe.
Introducing the bitch and a half, Lorithia. Ooh, all you Xenoblade players out there know exactly what I'm talking about. There is nothing likable at all about this character. Even her revealing JRPG outfit isn't helpful thanks to that Cruella-esque face she has there.
Oh, I mean, people do have their kinks. There are still people who tap that, man.
Speed, how did you come up with this comparison? Cruella's face is older and more bony, while Lorithia's face is younger and smoother. Please, don't just show us. Tell us how this comparison is supposed to make sense, and how this is supposed to make Lorithia unattractive.
Still tap that.
When the proper high-end TR are introduced in the game, yeah, they quickly establish themselves as the tight-arse, stuck-up lot of this world, and I assumed Yumea was going to be the worst. But Lorithia manages to effortlessly trump her, even when compared to the likes of Dixon, the guy who betrays you, mocks you, does so much evil shit, and even has dick in his name. Lorithia is still the worst. Dixon and Lorithia do end up being accomplices for the main villain of the game, and Lorithia does pretty much everything that Dixon does, but somehow manages to seem way more hateable than her partner. Oh, maybe because Dixon has some likable qualities.
Oh yeah, those likable qualities. Such as... Yes, he put the spoiler tag up, so most of whoever's gonna watch this segment will have likely played Xenoblade before. But here's the thing. Most. That wasn't me when I first watched this countdown, and that still isn't my co-op partners. Even then, especially the people who have played Xenoblade before, this doesn't explain why a backstabbing dick like Dixon is on the list instead. What likable traits does he have? Considering how he's a traitor, how can we even make sure that what likable traits you think he has weren't just an act?
It was kind of clear even from her first appearances that she was going to backstab the entire cast by the end of the game. Her first actual appearance in retrospect as a silhouette performing experiments to turn her own race into horrific monsters to purge the population of Bionis. She takes extreme pleasure in fucking over her entire species by turning them into mindless creatures known as Telethia to be used as pawns for the purging of the world, and directs all her mocking towards Melia in particular, transforming her brother into one of those Telethia and continuing to torment her time and time again.
It's almost like she's a fucking villain or something.
Players hate her is not so much story, but gameplay.
So the main reason you're putting a character on the hated characters list is not because of the character, but because of the boss that is associated with the character. Hi Shinobu, how are you?
It's time to stop!
Her physical defense is absurdly high, meaning that attacking with the physical attackers who make up half your party is pretty much fruitless, forcing you to rely on your ether users to even deal reasonable damage.
Which the other half of your party is mostly consisted of anyway, so...
Also have high resistance to melee attacks, and can barrage you with attacks of their own. She can inflict high damaging attacks on you, and even go so far as to exploit flaws in your AI-controlled party's programming, pushing them into the acid surrounding the arena and leaving them to die, as your partners will not leave the acid unless you directly tell them to.
So this entire segment thus far, you've been going on as if the audience has played Xenoblade before, yet now you're assuming there are people who are watching you that haven't played it yet.
Hey, he called it.
He did, but now he has no excuse as to why Dixon got no explanation for not being here instead. Jasper and Million at least got text. The best part, you could have easily fixed that by calling the ether pools just that the first time around, rather than calling it acid twice. The audience unfamiliar with Xenoblade could still figure out that the ether pools are acidic, while those familiar with Xenoblade would know why you called it acid. As this is, you're just being inconsistent.
And the entire duration of the fight, you have your ears assaulted as well.
You'll pay for your insolence. It'll all be over soon. This is for defying Lord Zanza. Pay homage to eternal power. Enjoy this battle, for it will be your last.
Okay, now that you're providing voice samples, I can sort of see the Cruella de Vil comparison you were making earlier. Now, forgive me if I take this the wrong way, but how is this a bad thing again? Considering how iconic of a villain Cruella de Vil is, being compared to her really isn't telling me that her voice is a bad thing so much as her repetition is, which may itself not even be the fault of Lorithia, but the programming.
Let me tell you something. On my first playthrough, I tried at least a dozen times to beat her with no success with my usual team, switched to Melia, then grinded in the worst dungeon of the game for 2 hours, and only after another hour of consecutive attempts did I finally beat her.
Wait, excuse me, I didn't catch that. Did you just forget to say why this dungeon is the worst and just say it is? And then hope the people who haven't played Xenoblade just blindly agree?
It's not like you had to grind there anyways. You could have used the quick trial assistant to leave the dungeon and do missions instead, since they could provide experience too. Or hell, just grind in a more tolerable area. Also, you were willing to spend over 3 hours on your number 2, yet you couldn't bring yourself to play 2 hours tops with your number 4. I don't get you, Speed. I really don't.
Simply typing in Lorithia in Google will give you results of people complaining about how hard this boss is, and for good fucking reason. A despicable bitch of a character who isn't even satisfying to kill.
How so? How is she unsatisfying to beat? For going on for so long about how much of a bitch the battle is, you never explained why this is the case, outside of how long it took you to beat her. But even then, one usually sighs a breath of relief after a fight that took him so long to complete because it's finally over.
Now, here's a funny story. Wanting to know more about why Lorithia was so unsatisfying to kill, I had my friend Zarek direct me to a video of the battle on YouTube, and I found this little bit.
No! My Lorithia! You! What have you done?
I have done nothing. This is your destiny. Accept it with dignity.
Ah! My body! No! I was promised immortality! Ah!
Even without knowing much else about the game, as well as the scene that plays before it, I could tell this was the slightest bit satisfactory, all because of something you brought up.
And directs all her mocking towards Melia in particular.
With all this in mind, again, how is this unsatisfying?
It's kind of amazing that she isn't number 1. But there's one character I hate more.
Oh, what gave it away? Was it the 4 minutes we have left on the timer? Also, we have 4 minutes left! What the fuck?
The Legend of Zelda series is my favorite, yada yada yada, done this song dance enough times, so whatever. And I never understood why there were so many hated characters in this series. Navi, Fi, Tingle, Gabora, man, this list can be really long.
I understand disagreeing with popular opinions, but not understanding why those popular opinions exist in the first place? Guys?
Navi constantly interrupted your game to tell you shit you might already know, coupled with the sound you'll probably grow to dislike.
5. Constantly interrupted your game to tell you shit you might already know, coupled with a ton of obnoxious sounds whenever she felt like she wanted to be useful.
Tingle, why should I pay you 3,000 rupees for you to beat my game, you little shit?
Gebra interrupted your game to tell you shit you might already know, coupled with the potential to have said dialogue repeat.
Well, I also don't hate any of these characters. There are coherent reasons that make these characters hateable to others.
I don't hate any of them. There's not a single character in this amazing series that I hate. Oh wait, yes there fucking is! Oh man. I fast forwarded through my rant about this slimy bastard the last time I talked about him.
That's the 4th time you used bastard during this list. I'm sorry, but big was the repetitious one? I'm sure there are other words you could have used instead.
But this time, ladies and gentlemen, you are getting my full rage.
Yes, let me tell you how much hatred I possess for this graphical model.
So to the core from the first time I encountered them in a game. A sorcerer? Tromping around Hyrule collecting the descendants of the 7 sages to free Ganon from his imprisonment? Never heard that one before.
Yeah, great job making your first comparison be that to the very game A Link Between Worlds is supposed to be a sequel to. Good show.
Also, great start to your diatribe by doing the whole, never heard that before, ooh, so cliche, I also like Bleach. This should probably go without saying, but fuck it, who cares, I'm dead anyway. Just because something's been done before, let alone once, it doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. After all, you also make countdowns.
Hell, the very topic of this countdown has been done before. You yourself acknowledge it.
Time for me to be unoriginal again? Alright then.
So if not being first at something means you suck, well aren't you fucked?
He's fucked. I also make countdowns and I'm fucking dead!
A male villain with gaudy amounts of eye makeup and an overall flamboyant, extravagant, and dramatic manner of speaking and acting? Never heard that one before! Yuka offers almost nothing new in terms of villainy in the Zelda universe, and just tries to ride off the coattails of 2 properly established villains in this series, and fails at doing so. He doesn't have the simple yet effective style of a Ganem.
Stopping you right there. I know this is another case of awkward wording, but that still doesn't change my confusion for what in the blooming hell you just said. Do you mean that Yuga's not simple enough to be good? In which case, that's dumb. Or do you mean that Yuga's simple but not effective enough? In which case, an explanation or an indicator for one would help you out. But you did say simple and effective, but that just makes this statement more confusing. Speed, please learn to words good. You're hurting my brain.
Nor does he have the grand, extravagant, expressive, and incredibly wonderful demeanor and attitude of Girahim, and is just kinda stuck in the middle with nothing to show for himself.
This just in, you can only be one style or another. It's all here, black and white, clear as crystal. There are no sliding scales of grays, no in-betweens. This is also apparently worse than bestiality!
All he seems to be to me is some pompous, stuck-up, and endlessly self-absorbed asshole with pretty much nothing to show for himself.
Didn't you just say Yuga had nothing to show for himself literally a sentence beforehand?
And is just kinda stuck in the middle with nothing to show for himself.
What is this? Am I stuck in limbo? Is there nothing left? Fuck you. This video is fuck. I died of kill. Alex never got on top. TB's gay. Ryan's a Jew. There's still no Chipotle in Killland!
But his literal copy-pasting of Ganem's objective actually got me excited. I mean, when this game was released, Ganon hadn't been in a game for like 6 years. My favorite villain in all of the game was finally going to be in a game that wasn't a spin-off. I was so pumped up and was eagerly anticipating its revival. And yes, we got it. The man himself is here. Ganon is in the game. For a whole 15 seconds. He then promptly gets absorbed into Yuga's body to create Yuga Ganon. Thank you, Yuga. You robbed me of something I've been waiting for a new Zelda game to do for years.
Okay, my focus is less on being snarky and more on providing input. But I admit this is about where I paused the video to start laughing. As guilty as I am of making similar remarks in my hated characters list from 2010, the problem with saying a game character robbed me of something I wanted is that it sounds entitled, and at worst, unwilling to ask questions about why a specific decision was made, thus encouraging ignorance. At least to me, part of what sets A Link Between Worlds apart from A Link to the Past is how much the story isn't reliant on old characters. In fact, beyond superficial similarities, the main three characters from Lorule are actually thematic inverses of those from Hyrule. Whereas Link had courage, Ravio was a coward. Whereas Zelda is wise, Hilda made poor decisions as a ruler. And yes, while Ganon seized ultimate power several times over, Yuga is just a powerless flunky. He wants power, and that's what drives his actions throughout the game. He could care less about resurrecting Ganon because he just wants what Ganon has, as with Hilda later. I will say that while I believe Yuga stands on his own as a villain, not liking any character is okay so long as we ask questions about it. Though this whole tizzy about Ganon's proverbial spot being taken just sounds over the top in how petty it is.
You could say this robbed Alex of a good time.
Ty, sweetie, we may be in Kill Land, but I will make you deader than dead. I will make you deader than Pogs!
Implying that's not literally me.
You took one of the greatest villains in all of gaming and made him into this monstrosity. Fuck you!
Doesn't Yuga fusing with Ganon mean that he succeeded in what he set out to do, thus making him an effective villain? In retrospect, by fusing with Ganon, he made Ganon more powerful and uglier, but that's besides the point. None of this tells me that Yuga failed as a villain, or at least Yuga failed no more than the likes of Girahim or Aghanim.
Surprisingly though, as you progress through the game, there was another development. It's fairly unsubtly hinted to you that Lorule's Zelda equivalent Hilda has underlying motivations for setting on a new quest in Lorule, ones with some villainous attributes to them. To me at least, this got me excited again. Not only would this be another female villain for the Zelda series, but for this parallel world Zelda to be the mastermind behind everything and would face me at the end sounded like an awesome concept that I really wanted to see. But we don't get that. This pasty ginger bastard couldn't keep his ugly face out of the spotlight. At the precise moment where I'm hyped for the Hilda battle to begin, Yuga betrays her and fights you as the final boss. Because of course he does!
And now for my long-ass Yuga rant. You kinda left out how Yuga Ganon even got there. It's not that Yuga couldn't keep himself out of the spotlight, Hilda brought him here. Also, considering that he merged with the main fucking villain of the entire series and left you almost for dead, there's absolutely no way he can keep himself quiet, can he? Also, and allow me to reiterate, he merged with the main fucking villain of the entire series! With something as potentially as powerful as that, I personally think that screams hundreds of decibels over someone like Hilda, especially after said betrayal. Speaking of, Yuga betrayed Hilda right after he was doing all the fighting and Hilda commanded him to give her his Triforce of Power for her own purposes. Okay, we can ignore any potential reasons why Yuga goes out to obtain all the power he can to crush you and focus on the fact that he just did it and expect us to believe that Yuga has nothing going for him and is overshadowing a potential plot point that we've seen a few times already. You know what's funny there, Speedy Dude? You tried to argue that Yuga's a shit character by saying other villains have done and is, yet we're expecting something that's already been done before and more often. Hell, if it's anything to go by, your favorite fucking game of all time is a clear example of this. You know what? Let's go even further. Not only did Ganon take the spotlight away from Zant, but he also did this to Aghanim, Varen, Onyx, Vadi, and Sia. And you want to know what that little trope of having the old villain take the spotlight away from a new one is called? Yeah, hijacked by Ganon. So, are we just gonna ignore all of this because that was Ganon and this is Yuga? Christ alive, your bias isn't just showing, it's right in my face and begging for me to suck it. I don't swing that way, bruh, but give Alex a call if you'd like.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus, dude, Speed or God, pick one, you whore!
You already robbed me of the villain I've been waiting years to see return. Why not rob me of a unique and interesting idea I was interested in seeing again? But I won't turn my back tonight. I utterly hate, despise, and loathe this character.
Okay, I take it back. No thesaurus for you because clearly you are using it the wrong way. You're using it to extend the length of this video. You are attempting to augment the span of this internet production. You wish to... Shit, you're turning me into Mojo Jojo. Stop it. Not a monkey.
Because in every single way to me, he is a disappointment. Brings nothing new in terms of his characteristics and actions, is annoying and irritating simply to read his dialogue and look at his grotty face. And when the game builds up two villains I was genuinely rooting for and begging for basically, he tarnishes both of them and shoves his lackluster self right into the limelight, making him my most hated character in all of gaming. I'm the speedster, And never before have I hated a video game character so down to my very core in my life.
Wow, that's a lot of hatred for someone who is wrong.
Dude, if I didn't know this was an act, I'd ask if you had some deep-seated issues you needed working on. You maybe want to talk to someone?
Invest in a stress ball, go for a walk, be like Alex and blow a couple dudes, just chill.
I hope Nintendo never brings him back. Rot in hell, you putrid piece of—
So when's the HD remake? And the video's over. Guys, got anything more to add?
You know, I'd love to wish death on myself, but I'm kinda already there. Again.
You know, I can remedy that.
Go jerk off to Zeus, we're almost done.
I prefer Hades, you know.
You called honey bunches of oats. Remember, I am on top this time. I'm really starting to regret writing this. Let me at that goat booty!
I don't want to hear, see, smell, or, you forbid, feel or taste any of it. Anyway, I'd also love to make another comparison about shitty leftovers from somewhere, but people will just get mad again, and I can't be fucked to go through all that for a second time, so I'll just be straight with you. Look, man, I totally understand that you have your opinions on how you may like or dislike these characters, and that's fine. The issue I have with this video, I guess, comes down to you actually made it in video form. Don't get me wrong, expressing your own thoughts about these characters, I guess, can be a form of stress relief or some shit, but the fact that this video exists, and I'm mostly expected to take something serious from this is, man. This iteration of a hated characters list get the same things wrong that a majority of the countdowns of the same topic does. An attitude that comes off as overly preachy and just downright too harshly spoken over a batch of fiction for me to take even the tiniest of grain of salt. Also, there's the usual, like the same facts you presented can apply elsewhere and even getting some facts wrong. Again, I'm not out to change your opinion on this. Hell, I never want to. But to back up your opinions, you need facts. And unlike opinions, facts can be wrong. And to get them wrong, you'll end up with, well, this. So to any of Speed's fans that I was saying something like the last time I was on TP's channel, well, there you are.
My final thoughts? Well, David, if there's one thing I've always liked about your videos and collaborations, it's that you're enthusiastic. You have a personality, and it's reasonably entertaining. There's a lot of potential to exploit that. Yet, a lot of the same problems I had in this tend to persist in much of the work I've seen of yours. For starters, I admit I was a little confused when you asked me to write a longer segment when I collaborated with you in your top 100 favorite games.
Great, more salt for my wounds.
To quote some historical nobody, brevity is the soul of wit. Length of each segment in a countdown doesn't always equate to quality, and especially not importance. All of that tends to come from how organically you can relay yourself to your audience in a countdown. If something feels forced or not like the real you, it'll show. It's like that uncanny feeling you get when you look at a mannequin. Exhibit A. A lot of the segments in this video and several other videos of yours could be much shorter. You have a tendency to say the same thing multiple times, nearly verbatim in the same segment, and some tidbits are often completely superfluous, particularly the often needlessly extended build-up to the meat of many countdown segments you've made. It sounds scripted when done that way, and I always feel like saying, dude, I know! No one talks like this! I'd recommend looking over your scripts several times once you finish a draft, and ask yourself if any of it comes across as repetitious or unnecessary. Hell, I'd even ask a friend if they have any thoughts about how to improve your scripts during the editing process. Like I said, there's potential to be had, but bringing out that potential means committing to refinement.
Maybe this is the more logical side of me talking, but Speed, your reasons for putting characters on the list were generally inconsistent. For example, with Big, Shinobu, and spoilerific number 2, even if you had reasons regarding their personalities, you primarily hated them for attributes that did not focus on that, but elements that the characters themselves had no control over, i.e. Big's gameplay, spoilerific number 2's boss, and Shinobu's mix of the two. Yet we get to Yuga and Purple Eyes, and any complaints about their bosses amount to the fact that they used your favorite Pokemon and favorite villain for their own purposes. And with Shinobu and especially Big being more protagonistic, this contrasts with the top 3, who are all villains. Even if we looked and thought that your reasons were hitting the spot, it would still be like trying to combine a list of characters that we're supposed to hate with a list of gameplay elements that bugged you while you were playing. And when you don't elaborate on how any of the gameplay elements bleed into the characters themselves, this combination shows. Is this the worst list I covered? Hell no. Even just comparing your countdown to the last one I covered, this one tried to be entertaining while informative, and while I can't say that either worked for me, at least the humor I can mostly write off as not being my cup of tea. But the informative part? Speed, I know you can do better than this. Listen, while you have a long way to go to be considered even close to being the worst, the last thing any one of us want is for you to turn out to be a bad countdown maker. Or dead, but that's a minor detail. Speaking of dead...
Speaking of what now?
I kind of fibbed about why I wanted to bring you back. And though we're dead and the entire point of reviving you seems a bit counterproductive now, well, things can still be arranged.
Ah, hell, what are you flapping your stupid penguin mouth about this time?
This!
What now?
Did you just kill God? Little known fact, I directed those movies. The reactions they get online are beautiful to my evil ears and eyes. Dude! Well, I guess there's always time for a God's Not Dead 3.
Hey, if I say something stupid as well, are you gonna swing your knife around again without a reason?
That depends. Got anything to say?
I like yum-yums. I regret nothing, bitch!
And then there were two. Again. Okay, hold up. Before you super kill me, is there any reason why you resurrected Alex? Which is kind of moot, because, well, you know.
Same reason I brought you here. Why know something funny? I have heard of a thing called genocide.
So what? I can still live, fuck you!
Huh. Well then. Any last words?
Yeah, fun fact. Even though I pressed the button, and even though I showed Alex the countdown, this is all still on your channel, and this were still the events that you brought up. So eat that, you plastered-faced fuckmouth.
Yeah, it was my fault.
At least you finally admit it, you cunt. Also, you're still dead, and you killed your only method of escape, so you can't stab anything else. At least I'll super die knowing that I just saved the world. Well, off to Kill Land Plus, I guess. Maybe then I'll have that shit lay.
Nothing left to stab, huh? Is that so?